Okay, so today we're going to continue working on the daily, and where we left off last week we finished the battery relocation to the trunk, or fixing it rather, and today we're going to install an oil pressure gauge. I got this from GlowShift. You order that separately, that comes with it. You supply these come with it. I've already extended the harness so that it'll reach the fuse box. And this is a fitting to adapt to where your factory oil pressure sensor switch is. And then that's the new sensor. So, let's get at it. I'm going to start by removing the dash, which is 2 7mm screws here, and then the rest is clips. Alright, that's even easier than the second gen cars. Alright, so what I did there was I ran the 12 volt switched to the ignition 1 and the 12 volt constant to the body fuse. And the reason I did that was I want it to be able to register. Like, you could probably grab your 12 volt switched from almost anything that lights up with your multimeter when you turn the key on over here, but only a few of them will actually be on when cranking, which I want, you know, you just rebuilt a motor or something and you want to build oil pressure by using the starter with your ignition stuff unplugged, or your fuse under the hood so that you don't have ignition or fuel, and you can just crank and crank and crank and watch it build oil pressure. You'll need to plug it into ignition 1 or fuel pump. Now on the other side, we just got to hook up the ground. Alright, now I'm going to hook up the ground wire to this one, which is already actually sharing those two grounds, but I'm going to use it. Alright, so now we're under the car, and we're going to swap out that for the sensor that comes in the kit, and we'll put in our adapter so that we can fit the 1/8 NPT thread, because this is a M14 1.5. So let's get that out of there. Alright, that's all snugged up. Now we grab our new sensor. And we tighten that down with our 22. Alright, so I got that sensor all screwed in and plugged in. So all that's really left is put the dash back in, mount our pod, plug in our gauge, and we're done. Alright, so there we go. She's all installed. Sensors run, wires run, all plugged in, hanging on the dash, or hanging on the pillar, so right on. That'll wrap up this car until I do the video on the engine refresh, but I don't know when that'll be. I'm not in too much of a hurry to do that. And I still gotta get my battery back for this car, otherwise I'd turn it on and test it, but I kinda can't. Alright guys, so to finish up this here video, I've got my battery back and they warrantied it. So, right on, I got a car again. That's great. However, my oil pressure is a little low. About, well, 48-ish on startup, and it should be up around 60, so that's concerning. And then I'm pretty much right on the minimum at 2000 RPM when it's warm and cruising, and I'm like 10 PSI at idle when it's warm, which is like 3 PSI below minimum. So I might need that engine build a little sooner than I thought. Alright, so I changed the oil, and our oil pressure's back to normal. It's sitting at 58. So 2 PSI below 60, I'm not really worried about that. And I drove it around and warmed it up, and at idle it sits at about 20, so nope, the motor's fine. I just, either the oil was really old and lost its viscosity and couldn't build pressure because it just thinned itself out, or much more likely, I think I might have screwed up and got 2 quarts of 530 and then 2 quarts of 520 by accident and might have mixed them together. So that might have actually probably been it, but like I didn't change the oil in this thing since beginning of 2020. So I kind of don't remember, but I remember that happening to me once at least, and it might have been on this car. So chances are it was my fault, and yeah, I did a dump. Yeah. So, but anyway, that's good news. But that'll about end it out here. So, you know, like, subscribe, comment, do your whatever you do, and we'll see you later.